What's your favorite girth?
Life's not fair. Is that what you're going to say?
I mean, I routinely go through rounds of being upset with you.
Fall into her vagina later that night.
I don't want to go for the balls. I don't want it. That's a low blow. It's a low blow.
So, but when it's like, yes, chef, give me a break with that.
It is day-long diarrhea.
He was called Cookies. His name was Cookies.
Oh, my Lord.
So his dad is his grandpa. His grandpa is his dad.
But don't be a dick to me.
I don't know if I can do this with you anymore.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It's good to hear your voice.
Oh, wow.
It's sick.
It's a sick face. Good to see your sick face.
What are we talking about today?
Well,
what do you want to talk about today? What do you want to...
You've been sick, so I was sick for 3 weeks, and there was a reason why I kept telling you I can't do it because of what you're going through. And I think I've been hearing everybody at work is sick. Everybody I know around me has been sick lately, and it's a really long period. It's like 3 weeks. Everybody's out, and yours is lingering.
Yeah, I'm not normally coughing, but I think, I don't know, because I got to laughing there or something. Thankfully, mostly isn't making me cough, but I know that is, maybe that's just still to come because this thing goes on and on and on. And I know my sister works in the Northeast, of the United States, and she's a bartender, and she was telling me a month, 2 months ago, she's like, people are sick. They're sick for weeks. Just goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it changes a little bit. You think you're done, and it comes back with some new stuff. And it's like, hey, it's like that, I don't know, that ex-spouse that's like, hey, don't forget me. You're trying to break up with the crazy ex-girlfriend, but you're still in it. You're still in it. I watched Wayne's World not too long ago, which I hadn't seen in a long, long time. And there's this whole thing. Wayne has a girlfriend, and I guess apparently she's a little crazy, but maybe something's wrong with me because I think when I was younger and I watched this, I was like, oh yeah, a crazy ex-girlfriend. But I watched it as an adult and I'm like, what's wrong with Wayne?
Yeah.
His girlfriend's looking pretty good and she doesn't seem all that crazy to me.
Right. And she's like
Wayne
doing it, everything she can to be with him. And he's just not having it.
Yeah. Wayne seems like the dick.
Well, but you're mentioning the crazy ex-girlfriend you can't get rid of, but you usually go back in and make the mistake of making love one more time. You know what I mean? There's always that dip your toe back in the pool by accident and you'll regret it. Oh, crap. And then you're right back to square one.
I mean, I don't think that applies to my personal experience, but perhaps, everybody's different, Dave.
Really? You've never done that? You've never broken up and then weeks, months later, oops, you kind of met up somewhere, had a laugh. You don't have the stress of the relationship anymore. You accidentally fall into her vagina later that night. Never? And you regret it the next morning,
No.
Yeah.
No. I have had the thing where you kind of like each other again. And you're like, oh, why is it so easy now that we're not together? But never the okay, now let's take that next step, do
you think it's because you don't have the stress of the relationship? Is that why it's easy?
I think that's part of it. Yeah. You don't have it. The stakes are lower and you can just be friends. You could just be yourselves. My voice is modified too from this whole thing. I couldn't speak.
It's kind of hot. It's kind of sexy.
I couldn't speak a few days ago. Yeah. I've got a raspy voice. I don't know. I don't think raspy voices are attractive on men. I find a raspy voice sometimes. It's like a stereotype. They're it's like a hot thing for a girl to have a raspy voice. Not vocal fry, because fuck that. But
what's that?
Raspy vocal fry? You don't know vocal fry?
I don't.
How is this possible? You know, when you
Teach
look at
me.
me and you're like, how do you not know? What? Where have
Teach
you
me.
been?
Never heard it.
God bless you, son. Good. Vocal fry is like it's generally applied more to females, and it'll be like, oh my God, why are we doing this? And it's a little less obvious than that. That's like over the top. But it'd be like, I just wanted to go out, and like he was like, I don't know.
Okay.
That shit.
Okay. Yeah. So I know what you're
And it's
talking about.
embedded in everything. And it's just like, it is a way of speaking. Now, if you listen to people, this is a thing that has become like kind of 50 is the new 30, right? Like, how do you draw like an immediate, like, tell me you're of a certain generation without telling me you're of a certain generation. So if you've got the vocal fry.
That's the noise the girl in The Grudge made.
It is. This is what I was just going to say. It is The Grudge. It was just possibly why I find it so disturbing. And I do love you, even though I am a little mad at you sometimes, periodically, like often. But anyway, I'm not trying to put on a vocal fry. I just have a raspy voice because I've been ill. I don't know. I was pretty upset with you the other day. I mean, I routinely go through rounds of being upset with you. What I find is different about you as a person is that you don't get bothered that people are upset with you. Not that I can tell. Not with me anyway. If I'm upset with you, you don't take it as personally as I would say like 95% of the population would. You're never like, I don't know what I could say to you that would have you be like, that guy really hurt my feelings and I don't like him anymore.
Well, so yes and no. So because you and I, things get taken out of context when you type them, either in email or text. People make up their own, what's the thing I'm looking for? How something like the tone of something. You can't see that on a text.
You can't really tone read texts, right?
Right. And so I know that going in, and I'm always like, okay, I don't want to say certain things because it might be misconstrued. I love Josh. Josh loves me. We'll talk. We'll work it out. It's not a big deal. So it's not like, it's one thing if you said, fuck you, you're a dick because of, all these different things or whatever. I would still be kind of like, okay, like, well, Josh still loves me and we'll work it out. Like, I wouldn't think, oh no, like I've lost Josh. And
I've
I don't know.
had times where I've been like, I've been like, fuck you, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but that's fine.
I don't fucking like you anymore. So, but anyway, my experience with you is that you don't have this thing where you're like, I don't know what I could say to you that would get you off my back, friendship wise.
I don't think there is.
I've not wanted to be friends with you for like a good 15 years. And there's nothing, it doesn't seem to matter. Nothing I do I can't get rid of you.
No. But you find that, and
that's not true, by the way. I'm just trying. It's just for the show.
Guys,
I'm not like, I don't really not want to be friends with you for 15 years.
There's a huge difference between
few moments over the years.
I know, but between men and women, there's a huge difference in this, that women, okay, I don't want to say catty, but they tend to get into these things where someone says something wrong to one of the, their other female friends, and they stop talking, and then they're too prideful, someone to say they're sorry or, to make up or whatever. And years can go by and women won't talk and they still, hate each other or have that. Men, years can go by. Doesn't matter what happened, what was said. If you had literally a fist fight with somebody, you see a guy again later on, and usually things are like, oh, hey, brother, like, what's up? You do like the bro hug and you like talk and chat.
I think the fist fight is actually one of the cleanest, fastest ways to wash away a problem.
Okay.
It is like cleansing by fist. I was in a band, on tour, and the lead guy was like, he's a good human being, but he was also a loose cannon at the time. And we were staying in some cheap ass, Super 8 motel, and this guy who was like creeping living in the Super 8 motel comes out, and he's like, those guys, they have that look. They're just like, I can't do it. It's like usually like really short hair, like skinheaded kind of look. And it's just like,
Yeah. I know that look.
And this fucking nut job is like coming at me, and the guy is like, you know what, man? Hey, why don't you back the fuck off? You know, he like finally had it. And the guy was like, hey, fuck you, man. You want to fucking get into it? And Mike fucking punched him like combination. And like the guy was like, hey, man, what are you doing? And then like 30 seconds later, it was like
drinking beers together.
They would have been if there were beers to be drunk at the time. But this guy was like in love with my guy. He was just like,
respect.
It was this alpha thing, you know, like, and I'm not that man. I'm not that man. I've never been that man. Like, if somebody hit me in the face, I don't think I'd be like, fuck you. My brain would be like, I'll find you when you're sleeping and I will cut your throat open. Like, yeah, I'm not that dude, you know, but there's something about guys. Like, I'm not your normal, whatever guy. I don't think you're a normal guy in this sense either. But like, you're right. Your point earlier, right, about that. Like,
chicks
it is
get
one
in
of
a
the
fight,
fastest
they don't
way
talk
to cleanse.
Yeah.
No,
but
I am much
chicks
more.
are pulling hair and they're like ripping bras off and stuff. Those chicks never talk to each other again.
Ripping bras off? What fight is this?
You know, just inevitably they're always grabbing and pulling things. That's all I'm saying. Like hair. It's always the hair, by the way. They're always like, there's always a chick that she's got her head down and there's a, she can't move. She can't do anything.
You gotta use what you got, you know? Like, why?
Yeah.
Generally, women have longer hair. I mean,
it's dirty. It's dirty. It's fighting dirty.
What else? You can't kick in the balls. You pull the hair.
Would you kick a guy in the balls?
I don't know. No, I don't think I would.
Unless he was sleeping and he wronged you somehow earlier and he's sleeping, then you might go for the balls.
I'd go for the throat. I wouldn't go for the balls. That's fucked up.
Yes. So there's
I'm not trying to torture somebody. I just want you dead. I just want you dead. You fuck me over, I'm gonna fucking just kill you. I don't want to fucking wreck your balls.
Yeah, it's an unwritten rule. That's bro code right there. You don't go for the balls.
I don't want to go for the balls. I don't want it. That's a low blow. You know, it's a low blow.
So you were talking about how smart you are earlier, right? You were talking about I use all these fucking high, falutin words.
I think I was actually
everything.
saying kind of the opposite, that it's not me trying to broadcast being smart. It's just me being comfortable with my own vocabulary. But yes, and then it makes other people feel uncomfortable, and it makes other people feel like they're not smart. But that's not my intent. But go ahead.
So I don't know. I mean, I always think we should create a segment for pet peeves, because I always have my fucking pet peeves. Everybody's got pet peeves. It's no different than, Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? There's pet peeves on every episode, Scott.
It's a recurring theme.
What's an observational thing? We spend a week apart and we go on the world and we observe things, and then you realize like, hey, I don't like that, or this drives me crazy. So the one thing that I've never understood in my life, and people are going to give me shit for this, and I'm going to sound uneducated for this, but just because someone goes to school for a certain amount of time, a length of time, and then they get their master's, they get their doctorate or PhD or whatever, all of a sudden they need to be called a doctor. That just drives me nuts. Okay. And I've had this conversation with others and they said, well, yeah, because, they are a doctor or whatever. I'm like, no, they're not a doctor. If I'm on a plane and someone's having a heart attack and someone says, oh my God, he's having a heart attack, I need a doctor. A psychiatrist isn't going to stand up and go, I'm a doctor, and go and fucking, do chest compressions and fix that fucking
possibility.
guy.
They had to go through medical school. They had to go. A psychiatrist went through medical school, by the way. So if they remembered their training, yes, but they're pretty far removed from the day-to-day, training.
I'm just saying, when I think of doctor,
resuscitation.
I'm not thinking psychiatrist. Yet they got to be called doctor.
Medical, but a psychiatrist is a medical doctor. They went through all the same training. They just, okay, that's fine. I understand. Maybe if it was like, hey, I'm a PhD and I work on flies in a lab, that doctor is not necessarily the person to go give you, chest compressions.
Oh my God, he was shot. We need a doctor.
Yeah. Well, you want an ER doctor.
You want a doctor, not a fucking,
you want a trauma doctor. Yeah.
That's when I think of doctor, that's what I think of. But yet you're supposed to call these people doctor for the rest of their life. And it's like, okay, I guess. Same with like cooking shows and how seriously they fucking say, yes, chef. And it's always like so fucking like, oh my God, this person is of such high stature and has to be respected to a point where it's like, oh my God, yes, chef. Fuck that. It's not. It's so militant. I don't understand it. I don't think they deserve that much fucking respect. Bullshit. They're a fucking boss. You can say yes, boss, but when it's like, yes, chef, give me a break with that. Give me a break with that. No.
Well, I think part of that is recognizing the institution, right? So there's all these institutions out there of learning, right? Mm-hmm. And there is a rigor that one must pass and, go through to earn those credentials. And then that's more of like, how we honor people who have gone through those things. And I know you've expressed stuff in the past, which is like, what's happened to society? Why don't we, why is there such entitlement and all of this? But like, there is something about the academic, and it's not just academic, but there is a labor, right, to going through there's a lot of work to go get those degrees and be that credentialed. And to get a PhD, for example, you don't just like take tests. You have to stand in front of a committee and prove, like you have to be judged by a certain committee to earn that degree. It's not just like I answered C so many times on an exam.
But
right?
I gotta respect you like no other. Come on. No PhD. It's one thing.
Not like other, but like who do you hold in that high regard that you're like, oh, I would really respect them? For you, is it like people who've made shit tons of money or something, or like own companies, or like
no?
You have some version of that. You don't feel like there's anybody who's kind of higher than you based on their credentials of some sort or another. Is nobody credentialed enough to be superior to David Kilo?
It's not superior. It's not like I feel superior to people. It's not that.
But would you not have deference? Would you not show some deference to them? What about like a karate master? Like a black belt?
Yes, sensei.
Discipline.
I mean, sure.
The discipline. They're like, think about the level of discipline to get there. And be like, you know what? I would do that if I could, but I don't. Maybe it's because you have such a good. Once you decide to commit and apply your discipline, you can apply it to whatever you want. So maybe you feel like, you know what, that's not that hard because I could go do it if I really gave a fuck.
No, but you're right. I understand what you're saying. But I think it's so played up. When you see it on TV especially, it's so played up to a point where you're like, Jesus, they're treating this guy like, you know what I mean? Like he's saving lives. He's not. He's a guy who's cooked a long time in his life, and you're on a show and you're super,
I don't think it's not. I think that it's okay to.
Yeah,
no, it's okay to show. No, but like, yeah, I'm not great with authority either. Personally, I'm not great with it. But people who have kind of proven their worth through that process of being credentialed, like if somebody was a total dick to me, I don't care if you're a PhD or not, right? Just don't be a dick to me, right? Like, I get that. Like, we're all humans. Like, we all have that degree in being human beings, right? We have all earned that credential. But, like, don't be a dick to me. But I think that for sure, like, people will say to me, for example, oh, Josh, you're a musician, because I've participated in music for years and years. And I'll be like, I am not a musician. I don't consider myself a musician. I mean, I think that and just like people are like, oh, Josh, you cook. I cook a lot, right? But I would never, people would be like, you're a chef. I'd be like, I'm not a chef. I haven't earned that. I haven't earned that title. That is a title that you earn. And it's okay to have some deference or respect for people who are elite in that class. I also have made things out of wood. It doesn't make me a carpenter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and is there a degree to be a carpenter? I don't know.
Okay. Someone goes to law school forever or whatever and gets, and passes the bar. Now they're a lawyer. Do you say, yes,
they're
lawyer?
A lawyer?
Yes. They don't have the same respect from people where it's like, yes, chef. Chefs have such a fucking high respect to like whatever ratio. It's bothersome to me. That's all I'm saying. You don't see that with lawyers. You don't see that with dentists. You don't see it with veterinarians are usually called doctor too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's certain things where you're like, okay, this is taken out of whack. Like a chef.
There's not a class, but you're getting drawn into like some kind of whatever is risen to the level of reality television entertainment.
I've seen
Chef
it in
has
restaurants.
become that thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
But somebody has to be in charge, and that's part of the dynamic. Like,
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's gone away. That's gone away. But it's an elevated version of sir or ma'am. It is boss. So you could call it boss, but in a culinary application, you would say chef. If they're really a chef, if they're a credentialed chef, yeah. I think you have. Well, I know what you're saying. I'm devil's advocating because, here we are, odd coupledom formula for a show. I totally get what you're saying. I would totally be on your side of that, like at other points in my life. I have it too. There is something about this, like, you don't want to give other people that authority for some reason. Like, you're so bothered by it that you're acting like you're working in a kitchen and you're being forced to call somebody chef, which you're not. You don't have to participate in this act whatsoever.
Yeah.
You only have to spectate it. But for even the act of spectating it pisses you off.
The respect is earned.
Do you have
it's not given. It's earned to me. That's where I have the problem with
it. The thing that's earned there is that without knowing that, like, without being there, that those people worked through that stuff and a process to get credentialed. Like, they got beat the fuck up to get there.
Yeah.
You don't have to see them do it. You're not their mentor.
No, but that to me is discipline. To me, all college does is teach you discipline, period. Doesn't make you smart. Sorry. I have no PhDs that are
it doesn't
fucking
make you smart.
dumb.
You're right.
I know PhDs that I'm like, how the fuck is this person, I'm supposed to call this person a doctor, and they have a fucking PhD, and they're not smart. They're not bright. And it's like you sit and scratch your head and think, okay, but you have discipline.
Because some of that isn't about being that smart, actually. It's about being able to play the game. And it isn't just the game, right? Depending on where you are and where you go to school and how it works and how it's applied, you can kind of fake your way through, or you can be academically really bright, but not common sense bright, right? That's like the old common dilemma. There's a lot of people who are way more common sense smart than academically smart. I have a Bachelor of Science. I don't think that makes me smarter than somebody who didn't go to college, because that's not what makes you intelligent. It's not. A lot of academics in college is about, I don't even think it's about discipline, because I don't see myself as a very disciplined person, actually. It's a common theme. I think it goes back to like episode 1 or 2, that like you don't want to defer to other people. Even like this teacher that you had that was like, give me corn nuts for a good grade, right? Like, that's something there is like, you have an anti-authority, but I don't think it's just as simple as calling it anti-authority. You got something else going on.
Yeah, I got issues, I guess.
Like, what's going on here?
I don't know. But this leads me to another thing I wanted to ask you.
Are we going to talk? Are you going to just use this to bypass? I want to get at this.
Yes.
Like, what's up with you?
Yeah? I don't know.
Okay.
But
we don't have to talk about it. Okay.
That corn nuts thing is, you're hitting on something else I wanted to mention, kind of when I was bringing that up. Have you ever met people in life, or have people in your life as an adult, that say something's not fair? You ever, like, someone says, oh man, my family's not rich, and and we're struggling or whatever, and these people they're rich because they have rich parents, whatever. That's not fair. Or she's skinny and I'm fat. That's not fair. Do you ever have people that say that in your life as an adult, not a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people I'm around today aren't. I see that as more maybe a maturity thing. I don't have many people in my life today that would be like, that's not fair, because there's no such thing as fair.
Life's not fair? Is that what you're going to say?
No, I just think there's no such thing as fair. It is so, what are the rules? You have to put that in a very finite box to define what's fair and not fair.
But I'll give
And I
you an
don't think
example.
life actually has that many real fixed rules and square corners to actually make things that fair or real, right? But like it's more, that's not fair to me is the same as a kid. It's a expression of being frustrated. Like for me, okay, hold your thought because I want to hear what you want to say. So don't lose it.
Mhm.
But I want to say something too. I have this sense at times where I'm like, I did all the things. I went to college. I got a good job. I got married to a person that was amazing, right? And I did the things. I have children and blah blah. And I'm still not happy, right? Like happy, right?
Mhm.
Or I'm not progressing at a certain level at work. And I could easily take those things that I'm dissatisfied with and say, it's not fair, right? And for a long time, I may have done that, but like fair assumes that like something in the universe or the world owes you something. The universe doesn't owe you shit. You're not owed anything. Do you know what I mean?
So there's not one
It's
thing
not.
you can think of that was legitimately, truly not fair to you as an adult.
No, I think that no, there have been. I've had different criteria applied to me versus somebody else, where I'd be like, okay, well, if we're both being judged by the same measure, why does this person get a pass and I don't? And it's because somebody has a personal preference for one thing or the other, and that's not fair.
That's not
But
fair.
there is such a thing as like things not being taken fairly, right? Or in a legal system, right? Their prejudice gets in the way of treating people fairly, right? Bigotry, right? That can get in the way of things being applied fairly, right? But anyway, I don't think that was your point. I think that
No, this is where I was going with it, because it's like in life, sometimes you see the people that say certain things aren't fair, like you're saying, and it's usually just, it's like there's no rules for around that, and that's usually just like some sort of like, like a childish thing or whatever. But there's been a handful of times in my life where I can legitimately say something wasn't fair to me, like you're saying, like all things being equal, you were passed over or whatever, and something else happened, and you can say that's not fair. I try to not ever think like what you're saying. I'm more like, life's not fair. Get over it. You know what I mean? Like overcome it, get around it, figure out how to make, you know what I mean? Make the change to where your life is
yeah.
better or your situation is better. You're
And
in
most
control.
times where you're saying things are fair or not fair, it's probably more of a pity party.
Yeah.
But but there are definitely times where things are not fair. It's legit. It's legit.
A long time ago, I think I was 20, 30 years ago, I was driving home from work late at night, midnight or 2 in the morning or something. I was driving home from work, and where I was living at the time, we were in a kind of a rural area. I'm driving home, and in my 1983 Honda Civic hatchback that we've talked about in episode 1, my little 2-speed, right, hatchback, looked like a piece of shit, right? So suspect, the car suspect. It's the middle of the night. I'm driving up this like lonely road. I see some headlights behind me, and they're coming up fast, right? And I was like, I'm looking in my rearview mirror. I'm like, what the fuck is this, right? Who's like racing it behind me? It was the place where my work was not a great neighborhood, right? It was in kind of a really shady part of town, right? And so where I got held up at gunpoint 3 times, that whole thing, that same job, right? So my wheels are turning, right? I've been held up at work a few times, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like the only car on the road. There's this car racing up behind me. I'm approaching a signal, and the signal is turning from green to yellow. And I get distracted, and I look at my mirror. All of a sudden, there's a fucking third light that pops up. And my instinct was like, shit, there's like a motorcycle now coming up, trying to race around this car, trying to get ahead of me or whatever. And it distracted me to a point, and it was so blinding that I somehow slow rolled through the intersection as it turned red. Okay. Then second in my mirror, it was a fucking cop behind me that turned on their searchlight. And I didn't know what was going on, but it was so blinding and so distracting to me. And I wasn't trying to, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing anything. So I pulled over. They come up to my thing and they're like, you know why we pulled you over? And I'm like, no, and they're, oh, you're around the red light. And I'm like, Yeah, because you fucking turned on your searchlight.
Yeah, it's a pressure
and you distracted
thing.
me, and I cruised
know.
through, and it turned. What the fuck? I'm like, I didn't.
I think that's part of that. That's part of a thing. I think
that's not fair,
they've got to know.
Josh.
They've got to know what they're.
They gave me a ticket, right? But I got a ticket, and I'm like, but I wouldn't have. Would I run through a red light in front of a cop, and then just pull over and be like, "Hey, here's my
I think that's a fair thing to say. It's not fair. It's not like anytime somebody says that's not fair, that is just like bogus, excuse finding. Mm-hmm. I think that there are things that aren't fair. So I'm sorry, I have to take a break.
Bio break?
I want to just say that I have been ill, but as of yesterday, I have the day-long diarrhea.
Oh, so here we go with the toilet talk. All right.
The day-long diarrhea. It is day-long diarrhea, and I'm so sorry.
Everybody is.
Wrap my pants.
Please go.
I got to take a little potty break.
Bio break. Please go.
Because I'm clenching so much for you. Okay.
I promise
tightly
myself,
aware of my butthole right now.
I promise we were not going to talk about pottying or pooing or peeing. All right. Okay. But good luck. Housekeeping. All right. So housekeeping is usually just housekeeping. You know what? Fuck it. So we're up to 1,683 as of right now. Subscribers.
Oh, wow. How was that? That's great.
It is great, right? Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So 1,683, we still got to remember how hard it is just to even get 10 or 20 or when we had 50. I'm like, oh, wow. Right.
We got spoiled.
Yeah. So, but 1,683 and we've had some bites. We've had some more bites. We've actually had a few people of a certain celebrity status actually watch the show and respond to me. I haven't told you this because you were mad at me. So I was like, fuck Josh, I'm not telling him anything. So
how do you know this?
No, because they've hit me back. But they want to. They've seen how we call people out. All right.
Did they watch the horrors part where you were like, oh, here's a nice lady who's funny that we like, and we're gonna call her a whore because she had the same idea we had?
I don't know, but
I don't even know why I'm saying we, because it's absolutely 0% to do with me.
Right. I'll take full blame for that. But they want to remain nameless for the time being. So
yeah. You know what people like? It's like, hey, I got this cool thing. These guys have followers. It's an interesting thing. The age is good. Blah blah blah. They sometimes randomly go into straight up cock talk, and like, how many dicks have you had inside you? And what's your favorite girth? Just bullshit like,
Josh, I promised we're not going to talk about Big Potty. We're not going to talk about cock and balls and penis and all on this episode. This was going to be
Big Potty is like original. That's an original concept. Nobody in North America, at least, says big potty, little potty, except for you. So I'm good with that. That's a novel concept. That's bringing something new into the world.
It's still toilet talk. And I told myself, okay, we're going to get a whole episode out with no penis, no balls, no toilet. I like how you're going to blame me
because I'm calling out what you did as though I am the originator of the problem. God damn it, David Keel. With your shit, with your fucking reverse psychology, fucking gaslighting bullshit. Fine. What else? Something else you want to say today?
Well, no, but so like with the housekeeping, we're not done. These bites could turn into potentially future guests. I'm just saying, I can't say who, but they are watching. We've had in the 1,683, there are a few people who have watched the show that people would be like,
what's the 1,683? Oh, the fans of
our subscriber account, who we appreciate.
Yeah. So what is it that are you able to see who has watched? Like accounts that have watched? Like other YouTubers?
They've responded to me.
Oh, but they've been like, hey, I just want you to keep it on the down low that I've even responded to you.
Yes, because there's like a whole process for this.
Did they set some conditions? What was the point of this contact?
Not yet.
What
so
was,
that's
what
the
does
thing.
the contact lead us
Most
to?
of these people, they have agents, they have agencies, they have like things that they have appearance fees. There's a lot of different things involved with these things. They're not just like, oh yeah, let me just roll out of bed and get on your podcast for 5 minutes and then have you edit it how you want and have you put them in a certain light, if you will, without their
of course
discretion or without their sign out. Like there's a whole world involved. So I've gotten to some of those conversations where I'm like,
same thing?
Oh, 100%.
You'd be doing the same thing. I want to say something.
Go ahead.
This mess back here, okay, a lot of 50 is the new 30 people. If you're in the 50 bracket, you're going to relate to this. You've put some fucking painter's tape up because you're trying to mark your studs, because you're trying to make your room 100%. A better version of itself. You've done some home improvement work. And guess what? We don't all have a nice studio earmarked for fucking dicking around to make a show.
I have a room with a couch. That's it. I have a room with a couch in it. It's not special.
A room with a couch. It always looks the same. It always looks perfect. And you've got your $80,000 camera that's just like trained on you constantly. Your hair is always the same. It's bullshit. Yeah.
Hey, your shirt. Bullshit. I like your shirt today. The brawny shirt from the last one with the plaid brawny. I don't know. I didn't love it. It's not my favorite of yours. This looks really nice. This looks really nice.
Thanks for the backhanded compliment. I really appreciate that so much. Well, anyhow, I just think that, this is real. Like the 50 is the new 30. People get it. Like, David, how much home renovation do you do in your place? Like, you do a lot of that work yourself?
Do
you?
At my house that we own, we remodeled the entire house.
Yeah. Did you hire somebody to handle? Were you have a general contractor?
Yeah, we had contractors for everything. We had a guy. He was called Cookies. His name was Cookies. And
really?
Cookies.
That's so sweet. That's very sweet.
Cookies didn't speak any English. And Cookies.
What language did Cookies speak?
Spanish. And
Cookies though. Cookies. What's Spanish for cookies? Why would you call him Cookies?
Cayetano. Cayetano was his name. But then people started calling him Cookies. So we started calling him Cookies, right? And Cookies said he was a jack of all trades. He could do tile, he could do plumbing, he could do, it was a lot of different things. Oh yeah, it's great.
That's wonderful. So wonderful. I wish I was one of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be.
Well, and then we had Cookies Dose, because we had another, like after Cookies like disappeared on us, we had to get another Cookies.
Not double Cookies, but like Cookie Part 2?
He was Cookies Dose. Yeah, he came
Shadow
along.
Cookie.
He used to wear like a button-up shirt.
We call that person Crumbs.
He had a cowboy hat. He had boots.
Yeah.
He would have his button like unbuttoned, like down kind of like the middle of his chest almost on his button-up shirt while he was doing like labor, right? It was a whole thing. But Cookies Dose, man, he laid it down. Yeah. So, Josh, while we're on the topic
about Cookies Dose should be called Crumbs.
Oh, wow.
It's a good joke, but you missed it.
I didn't hear it, but you know what? That is funny.
I feel petty because I had to bring it back up, and then you did that to me. Okay, what else today?
Because you're talking about crumbs and crying about me not listening, what is the biggest regret you have in your life?
Oh, my Lord. Wait, we just fucking randomly sneak that in like we're not talking about cookies and crumbs? Okay, fine.
Do you have a regret in your life where you can think right off the top of your head, what's my biggest regret in life?
I tend to have an issue with having that like extremities list of like, this is the one thing in this or that category. I'm like much more gray than black or white. And I know a lot of people, because other people will be able to be like, here's my elevator pitch for the whatever. Like, I'm not succinct. So that extends to like my own inventory of what are my things or that. But regrets, I'd have to think about it. No, I don't have an offhand thing. I feel like I'd have to give you like 3 flavors of it because I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy who's going to be like, yeah, it's the one biggest regret. And it's like, here's the soundbite. One regret is that growing up, my mom being a single mom, she had a lot to contend with. And I was just a kid growing up in that world, and she wasn't very structured in what she expected from us. So there weren't like chores, like clear cut chores and stuff. but having more life, experience under my belt, I wish that I could have recognized where she needed help more, and I could have just volunteered and done it. Like I could have. Now, that doesn't mean that I wasn't like kind of silently deputized to do things that were beyond my years. Like I took care of my younger sisters. I changed a lot of diapers. I did stuff like as a kid that I probably shouldn't have needed to do, quote unquote. But there were other things like laundry. Like I never used the same towel twice. I would take a towel, I would use it, and then I'd throw it in the tub as though by magic, somebody was going to clean that thing, right? I wish that I had been a little bit more responsible and like already knowing she was having a hard time, like just gone and learned how to do laundry, because I didn't really learn how to do laundry until I went to college. But I had every opportunity to learn how to do laundry. But she had a thing where she was like, I'm not going to ask my kids to do laundry, because she felt bad that she wasn't able to be who she wanted to be. So she never deputized that kind of thing. She deputized a lot more like emotional labor, but not like labor, like actual labor. And I wish I had just been more adult, I guess, in just stepping up and doing things that would have helped her, But like biggest regrets in life, I don't know. I'm struggling with things right now that I wish were different, but I can't call them regrets. Do you know the difference? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wish this was different, but I don't see it necessarily as a regret. Okay, so I'll turn it back on you. You've got my extended answer there. Do you have things in your life? Do you have a go-to biggest regret list?
I guess I should have prepared for you to
You give me anything. Like what comes to mind?
No, my shit always comes back to financial stuff. That's my brain goes there first, right? Because it dominates like so much of my life in my
But you're doing pretty
50s.
Okay. Right?
Yeah, we're doing okay. But
you're doing pretty okay.
But there's like it's kind of like almost saying, what advice would you give your younger self? Right?
Okay.
Or what advice would you give your
younger self? Were you called Kilo back when you were younger?
When I was on the car lot is when it really took off with the Kilo.
Would you be like younger Kilo? Here's what I would like. Here's what older Kilo would like to tell you.
It's always financial. It's always financial, period. I don't have things like, I took drugs and alcohol and I fucked up, or I wronged people, or you stole people. Is that your biggest regret,
that you didn't
do those things?
You didn't drug out enough?
No,
Maybe you should have drugged out more.
But I don't have those things where I can say, well, that's my biggest regret or whatever. My things go back to financial, where it's like, in hindsight, it's easy to say any, discretional income you have, right? Which when you're younger, you don't have a lot of it, right? But anything, $100 extra bucks, you get money for your birthday every year from your grandma and your aunt and uncle and blah, blah, blah. Take that money and fucking invest it. Put it in the stock market, put it in the S&P, and just sit there and just let it grow and let it grow and let it compound and let it compound. And anytime you get some extra money, or just don't spend money on frivolous shit, don't do stupid stuff with your money. That is what comes to mind first, right? Invest. And then 20 years from now, it is a huge benefit to the rest of your life. What it turns into 20, especially 30 years, if you're able to have that patience, which no one does when they're young. You want to go to take that girl out to freaking Casa Bonita or whatever the hell you said earlier, and you don't care how much it costs, because you're like, oh shit, this girl wants to go out with me. I'm going to spend what little money I have.
Emphasis on bone. David Kilo Bonita.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So you heard bone in that. Okay, so my point is,
Kilo's got regrets.
When you're younger,
fucking Casa the bone hard enough. Yeah,
when
baby.
You see, whoa, we just can't. Yeah. We can't stay away from it. We can't.
Yeah, baby.
We, when we're younger, don't have that discipline, and we don't have that ability to say, okay, I'm not going to go take this hot chick that wants to go out with me to the Casa Bonita I'm going to instead put this money in the stock market. You don't do that as a young kid. However, knowing how it benefits you later on in life, holy shit, that's the advice I'd give myself. But I'm the first one to admit, you cannot put a price on happiness, Josh. You cannot. And you cannot put a price.
Experience. Or just living your life.
Right.
You can't be chronically premeditated towards something that you don't know is ever going to happen.
Right.
You got to just live your life. And I would tell you, if your biggest regrets, I mean, honestly, if your biggest regrets are that you didn't basically pre-save enough for it to grow, you didn't power save enough, I guess you're doing pretty fucking okay. Yeah. I think you don't probably, I think you're not digging deep enough because most of us have some other regret. Isn't there somebody somewhere? I mean, you can't say these things because you're married, but like maybe there's the like, man, me and what's her name should have had a chance.
No.
It'd been something.
No.
Been something.
But I think a lot of things you can say are regrets or regretful for shaped you. They made you who you are.
If you could go architect the past or the future, what would you change about it, right? If you were pulling the strings, I'd wish that my mom would have had an easier time of things, right? And that's not totally selfless. If my mom had an easier time of things, I probably would have had an easier time of things too, right? Like it's not just that, but I do wish that she could have been a happier person. On top of that, there's just wishing you could have been more responsible or, self-aware back in the day. Like I have many times where I'm like, I wish I was more self-aware and I could have understood what all was going on. I want to make sure that we get to Josh's deep thoughts.
Let's do it.
Shouldn't it be called dangleberries?
So because of dingleberries and they're hanging off your butthole, and why is it a dingle rather than a dangle? Is this what we're going?
It should be called dangleberries. Why aren't they called dangleberries?
More potty talk. It's more potty talk. Okay.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's pretty
Doesn't
deep.
make a lot of sense. Guess what? I got a lot of these. I got a whole bunch, but I'm not going to give you more than one per episode.
Okay.
You got to wait for it.
Remember,
I got good shit for you.
Fuck. Remember during the week I sent you that Instagram of the guy who took the eye thing off after 3 days? He was in what's called a vision. Fucking. It's like this therapy thing that people do, and what it is just to explain it for everybody else. You wear like an eye mask. And you're in some retreat somewhere, and you put on an eye mask for like 3 days.
So it was like 3 days? 3 days of no visual anything.
Right. You don't look at your phone.
And then you take it off, and then you're blinded by sunlight.
Yeah, just looking, it blinds you or whatever. But every single person who does this breaks down sobbing the second they take this thing off of their eyes.
Yeah, because they've been horrifically abused for 3 days that they signed up for and paid a shit ton of money to be fucking horrifically abused and reamed up the fucking butthole for 3 days.
Yeah.
Great. And then you had an epiphany. Get the fuck out of here with your epiphany.
Wow. Okay. So I was going to say, you know what? I can understand how it makes
other ways to have an epiphany. You don't have to fucking sensory abuse.
Right.
Sensory different. We're human creatures. You go sensory deprive somebody for 3 days, and then you take a light off and it's like, oh, I saw the fucking Lord. Fuck you.
Yeah, they're more like they just have a newfound appreciation for things.
That's a game blast.
Yes.
Game blast.
But why?
Game blasting people.
But why? Every now and again, something gives you perspective in this life. And it's usually when a close friend dies or a family member dies or somebody gets sick that a loved one or whatever. And then it gives you that newfound perspective on life. Like, wow, life is short. I should, appreciate every minute I have in this world, and I should, not take anything for granted. And it does that for you.
Yeah.
Every single time I've had somebody die or whatever, you're like, wow, I'm really going to try to And then a week later, you're right back to your same shit, right? It's just how it
Until
works.
it's your parents. Yeah.
Yeah. But why is that? Like, so then these people are going to the point where they're doing a sensory deprivation, therapy or
Because
whatever.
let me ask you a question. We're talking about gaining a sense of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
When is the last time in your life you went without light for 3 days?
Yeah, never.
Yeah,
since I
never.
popped out of the
So it's
womb.
going to immediately give you a sense of perspective that's different.
Yes.
This is like a magician's trick.
Yes.
Except that instead of showing up in a theater for 20 minutes, you conned people into paying money to pay you to fucking take their sight away for take away a basic sense. How many senses do you have? What if I bound your ears so you couldn't hear anything? Of course you're going to come out like, oh, it's so different. Oh, I have my senses back. Fuck you.
Yeah, and I love my hearing, and I appreciate it. I'm never going to take it for granted again. Yeah,
and it's great. It's great. Of course, it's great.
But why do humans need this? Why? Why do we need those reminders? Why can't we always have it every single day in our lives?
The anomaly of life today is that we live a relatively safe, fixed existence, and this is not how human beings evolved. The abnormally high degree of safety and security that we actually enjoy in our lives today, I think our bodies and our brains and our neurology are looking for the chaos. And when the chaos isn't actually there, we kind of make it. And when we make it, it shows up as anxiety and things like that. And I'm a person who suffers from this, and I'm not trying to make it seem like it's nothing, it's insignificant. When you experience it, neurologically, biologically, it's very real, right? Your body is programmed to experience it. It's just that we're out of sync. We're not distracted enough in terms of our day-to-day existence. We have so much downtime that we can think and overthink or look for the chaos and the stress and the stuff. And I don't think human beings are meant to do this. And that's why I think like whatever's coming next with like AI and like increasing how sedentary we are, it's a disaster. Like human beings they're not gonna survive that. It's an absolute disaster.
One of the craziest things I heard this week, it blew my mind. We were at a little cafe and having a nice little day. We were, by the water, and we're just, whatever, kicking it. And there was a table next to us where this, sometimes you get those people next to you at a table where there's one guy that just has the voice that just cuts through the air somehow. And it's just everybody can hear what he's saying. He uses he doesn't use his outside voice or he's using whatever voice. He's loud. At the end of the day, he's fucking loud, right? And everybody's listening to him. He was trying to explain to his people at his table his little situation and his lineage growing up. And people they were literally taking notes. I think they were like almost interviewing this guy because he had a weird situation, whatever. So I'm sitting there and I'm paying attention because I couldn't help it. The guy says, he's like, okay, this is going to be confusing, but stay with me here. My mom's father is my father. And I was like sitting there and I heard it and it took me a second. And I looked at Laura, my wife. She looked at me and I'm like, did I just hear him say my father or my mom's dad is my father? And she's laughing and I'm like, my mom's dad is my... So this guy's grandfather is his father. Like his grandfather molested his mother. Instead of getting an abortion, I guess there was a problem. She couldn't abort. He was saying it. He was like, oh, there was, I was supposed to be aborted, blah, blah, blah. But there was a complication somehow where supposedly he couldn't be aborted, which doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Long story short, she has the baby. So his dad is his grandpa. His grandpa is his dad. Right?
So can I ask you something?
Okay.
On what fucking planet is this just happening at a cafe adjacent to your table?
Right.
That the guy is like, hey, friends who have joined me for lunch today.
They were taking notes.
Can I tell you about this deeply incestuous and disturbing situation that you're probably not even going to understand if I say it, that my dad is my grandpa? Let's just be at lunch. And then Dave Keel is in the same earshot of this.
Yes.
I feel like I want to call bullshit.
Oh, no. This is true story. I should get her in here to corroborate. This is not, you think I'd make this up? 1, 2.
Yeah.
No, I would not make this up. It
just doesn't make sense that you're like out at some cafe and this among the of the various things that one could hear over here at a cafe, it's my dad is my grandpa.
Yes. Why would I lie about this of all things? You know what I mean? I might say I have a 9-inch.
I know it doesn't make sense that you would lie. It just seems too weird. That would be the next logical progression of all this reality TV bullshit. Like, my dad is my grandpa.
Uh-huh.
That'll be the next, like, huge show. It'll be like the Jersey Shore. You know, my dad is my grandpa.
Uh-huh.
You know, people will be like, oh my God, you remember the days when things were safe and fun? Like the Jersey Shore, when things were innocent and sweet?
Wow.
They'll be like,
or Jackass.
Because
Yeah.
Because now it's my dad is my grandpa.
Right? Tell me that's not mind blowing. When you really sit and think about it, it's
mind blowing. Are you kidding me?
Can I interrupt here real fast? Because somebody is not, as of 56 minutes ago, somebody is not 50 anymore. So I don't know if I can do this with you anymore.
Today your birthday?
Well, it is as of 57 minutes ago. No, I mean, it is right now. 57 into the new.
Is the 24th your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hey.
So,
well, we should say.
So we got to change the name of this thing. It's got to be 51 is the new 30 and a half. No, it's like 30 and a half. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't stay. I say it's 50 is the new 30 and a half. So it's a little more difficult to put on a mug.
Yeah,
51 is the
mugs are outdated now.
Where's my gift?
I'm gonna send that to you.
Okay.
It's gonna be a little anticlimactic because it's a Christmas ornament.
Thanks. Okay. I thought maybe if I got the gift, I could have opened it on my birthday and showed it off.
Yeah. Where's Josh's birthday?
It's coming up. I know this. It's soon.
Where could it be? Where could Josh's birthday be?
Well, no, but I'm looking in my phone now, Dick. Hold on. I'm like, but it's not coming up.
It's not today. So you've got 364 other days to guess.
Oh, you know what? I don't have your birthday saved in here.
No, you don't. Because you ain't never called me or contacted me on my birthday. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Jesus. Everybody who fucking texts me only texts me, oh, I like when Josh said this. Or they text me quotes that you fucking say on the show. The last one was, oh, a wet dream. That sounds nice. I'm like, wait, that's what you picked up from the whole episode? Wet dream. That sounds nice.
That was what I said.
Exactly. That's my point.
Sounds nice.
Right.
I haven't had one because I'm pure.
I'm saying,
unlike you.
People only say shit you say. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so much, Kilo. Let's pretend that we're doing a 2-person show here, and it's been great seeing you again.
You too, buddy. Bye. See you next week.
All right. Bye.
See you.
See you.